Welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show on News Talk KFYO. Thank you very much for tuning in. My next guest, his office welcoming us to the Resurgent Gathering in Austin, Texas tomorrow. State Representative Dustin Burrows. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Chad, I'm fine. Just calling in to welcome you to the city currently known as Austin, Texas.
That's right. It's currently, we still have to figure out what we're going to call it. I don't know if we've come up with the best name yet, but I think we're getting close.
I assume they're going to be considering Stalingrad and Leningrad and a couple other places that may be more fitting for the way their politics are shifting.
Yeah, you could do something with the bats, bat blank Crazyville. I don't know. You can do a lot of different things, I think, with Austin. But, yeah, we're looking forward to broadcasting from the Resurgent Gathering, a huge conservative conference that's going to happen in Austin, Texas. And there are going to be a lot of conservative speakers, and we're hoping to get quite a few of them on the show.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. It's a good conference, and it's going to give people an opportunity, between Governor Abbott, Senator Cruz, and everybody to highlight what's really going on in Texas. I mean, we're doing really well, Chad. Low unemployment, 24 months of job growth, number one state in the country for business, fastest growing economy in the entire nation. We have 1.7 trillion GDP, number 10 in the entire world, bigger than Russia's, 2.6 million small businesses. Things are going well. If you look at the economy, people should be happy, but the Austin elites and the Democrats want to change that. I don't know why anybody would buy into it, but, this will be a good conference, and hopefully y'all guys bring a little sanity into a city that needs it.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, a lot of the discussion, from what I could tell, will center around how to push conservatism within not only state government, but also overall the federal government and how to get conservative policy to influence more federal government. And my question to you is, I know you're trying to do it on the statewide level. How can people and other lawmakers really push more conservatism in state government? Because the conservatism, it is under attack, whether it's from the left or even moderate Republicans, the media, it's conservative policy is always under attack, even in Texas.
Yeah, well, look, when you see bias, call it out. Say something. I mean, when you realize that something doesn't sound right and you will see an agenda in a paper or, whatnot, go ahead and post. Media has now become the great equalizer. Everybody has the opportunity to look at things. But, the numbers just don't add up for the progressive movement. We have a conservative state in Texas. Arguably, we could be more conservative. But our policies, low taxes could be lower, less government intrusion. We encourage a diverse energy sector. We don't punish it. And we have numbers to show. So hopefully, by looking at what we do right in Texas, maybe it'll inspire the rest of the country. And I think people need to take note that Texas' success is because conservatives have been leading.
What are some of the conservative policies and conservative legislation that you're kind of already thinking about for the upcoming session?
Yeah, so, here we are. I'm in San Angelo today. There's actually a West Texas summit. We have legislators from around the state. And, we're discussing things about how do you actually lower property taxes over time? How do we actually cap the rate of growth of property taxes at the local level? How do we bring down health care costs, not by expanding, welfare programs, but by actually getting, more competition in the market? How do we make sure we build roads and infrastructure? How do we keep our energy economy booming, which is very important to us? And I know that while we're having these conversations, it's really interesting to kind of watch some of the conversations that we're seeing from around the country, where they're trying to ban straws, ban animals in the FFA, ban fracking. Their solutions to transportation. You'll see this in Austin. Rather than building more roads, take care of congestion, they're taking away car lanes and turning them into bike lanes. They're trying to have paid sick leave, which is a disaster for many businesses and will end up killing jobs there. They're trying to raise taxes, not lower them. So, I think the juxtaposition is clear. The policy differences couldn't be more stark in contrast this cycle.
The event that you're at today in San Angelo, what are, I know you went through a few of them there. Is there one or two big issues that folks in the rural areas and I know in a lot in your district are of concern? What's one or two of those big issues that people are looking at right now?
Yeah, so we're talking. This is an energy and transportation summit. I mean, these are the two things that this summit focuses on. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about there's still a movement afoot to try to ban fracking, which really would be devastating to this economy. We're talking about how to actually make sure we have the infrastructure and roads out here in energy country to make sure that we have access to it. There's a Port to Plains delegation up here and continuing to, have the idea of extending I-27. And so we're looking at improving and investing in infrastructure, keeping the economy moving. We're having policy debates about the budget. We're talking about property taxes, healthcare costs. And I've said this a lot on your show. This is something that we all recognize, which is, a big barrier to our economy having even more rapid growth, businesses expanding. And so the conversations I was in last night, the ones I'm in this morning with my colleagues, is we are talking about those policy solutions of things we can actually do.
When you're meeting, when the legislature gets together and you've got these rural issues that obviously you care about and that you're taking to the legislature, do some of your colleagues from more of the urban areas, do they get it? Do they understand it? Is there truly that big rural versus urban divide in the legislature among Republicans?
Look, the team reshuffles, from time to time. I mean, sometimes it's clearly a rural versus urban issue. We have some great members who represent areas in Houston and Dallas that understand our issues and vote with us because they know that, having a robust agriculture industry, having a robust energy industry, having Texas Tech benefits the entire state, and they benefit in Houston from that. And I'll tell you the opposite is true. Hurricane Harvey was devastating on our economy, hurt our coastline bad. We all want them to rebuild. We need them to rebuild because that's where we ship a lot of our goods and wares from. So we're all in this together. I think, a lot of the sophisticated legislators understand that. I mean, there are some urban versus rural divides. We do bridge those gaps. But, I'll tell you, there's a lot of thoughtful individuals who recognize that this is a big state and we all need each other.
What do you think, when looking ahead right now, what do you think overall the big issue or two or three issues will be for the upcoming legislative session?
Yeah, I'll tell you, if I had to pick a top three list of things that you will hear discussed the most, that we're going to spend most of our time on by comparison to other issues, school safety, number one. There is no doubt after what we've seen, school safety will be a priority and a priority for all members. Hurricane Harvey, I already mentioned, it was just a devastating impact, affected every single sector of our economy, and we're going to be looking at all sorts of different things that need to be done for that. And then, of course, property taxes. I don't care where you live in this state, we hear about it from people all of the time. Their property taxes continue to rise and rise and rise faster than their incomes, and they're having a hard time owning and staying in their own house. I mean, most people tell me they don't feel like they even own their house. They're just leasing it back from those who are taxing them. So you'll see those three issues, in my opinion, discussed as much as any others. I think the governor will likely make those three issues top priorities, maybe even emergency items, and I think we're going to address them, and you're going to see significant policy discussions and legislation come out sought to address them.
Were you glad to see the governor and others kind of pull back on these red flag laws that were being discussed and go, okay, we're not going to pursue something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I was on your show and we talked about that. I never did understand, how that was actually going to make our schools safer. I think it was a red herring. I don't mind having the conversation, but at the end of the day, I think that if we're talking about school safety, the important thing to talk about is what things can we do to actually make our schools more secure? What resources can we provide to try to identify the individuals? And there's a couple different ways to do it. Some of them I'm vehemently opposed to, but how can we actually identify the students who are most likely to do this and help encourage them to outgrow or come out of that so we don't have more violence? It's a complicated issue. There's a lot of different ways to actually go about it. I think the governor has laid out some really good policy ideas. I think, the red flag part of had any impact.
Visiting with State Representative Dustin Burrows. Before I let you go, there was a story, and I don't know if you saw it I think it came out over the weekend, and it was the Texas Tech police said that Campus Carry had made Texas Tech a safer campus, and that they felt as though even having Campus Carry prevents they think it probably prevents a mass shooting from occurring on campus because, hey, there are people who are armed on that campus. Is there a way to take that story and put it like in every Democrat's inbox and go, see, we told you so? Everything is going to be okay. Because, and you look at that and then also carry that to school security and campus safety with schools. And I'm thinking, okay, if Texas Tech police are saying that this made a campus safer, can't that apply for Dallas ISD and Lubbock ISD and other school districts as well?
So I have not seen that story. I'm going to go find the link and post it on my Facebook page because I think it's a great story. My first session, I asked the parliamentarian how many votes did he think that I actually took. And he said somewhere around 3,800 record votes. And we got done with session, and you would have thought the only thing that I voted for, and I did vote for it, was actually having campus carry. And, at the time, I voted for it, and I think most of us believed it would do just like what the Texas Tech Police Force said. It was the same thing with concealed carry. There was consternation about it ahead of time. Everybody said, oh, my gosh, it's going to be, upsetting. Or not everybody. I think, some of the mainstream media said that. And then you look back and law enforcement realizes that it was a very good thing. It actually prevents it. And so I think it's part of the conversation, especially I have a lot of school districts that, have policies that implement things like that. And you talk to my superintendents, it's very important, especially in my rural schools. I mean, where there's not enough law enforcement to actually do this. This is a life and death situation. So it's definitely part of the conversation. I'm glad the Texas Tech Police Department has spoken out, and I intend to find a link to that article and share it as much as I can.
Yeah, excellent. State Representative Dustin Burrows, as always, we appreciate your time. Also appreciate you and your office welcoming us to Austin, Texas for the Resurgent Gathering tomorrow.
Thanks, Chad. Welcome. Be careful.
We will, and I'll looking forward to being stuck in traffic on I-35 for about 2 hours this afternoon.
All right, take care.
Have a good one. That's State Representative Dustin Burrows here on the Chad Hasty Show.